Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our third press conference of the Castrol Toyota Racing Series for 2019. Our four drivers here today, from left to right, is Callum Williams, an 18-year-old from Perth, Australia, racing for MTech. Alongside him is another 18-year-old, Cameron Dass, from Baltimore in the USA, recently racing for Carlin. Alongside him, another 18-year-old from New Zealand, from Christchurch, Marcus Armstrong, the Ferrari Academy driver and F3 driver with Prima. And to his right, Dev Gore, 21-year-old from Giles Motorsport, coming out of Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, guys. What a day. A lot going on, a dramatic day. Without going too deep into it, Cameron, first of all, you were involved. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything?
Can't really comment on anything yet because we haven't been to the scrutineers, and yeah, until that's resolved, we can't really comment on it.
On a positive side, you definitely have shown that the reason for coming back was a good one, because you have definitely now starting to get into the top three in times every time, and you were leading the race up until that incident. So you must feel good about coming back.
Yeah, it's definitely an improvement over last year. I think as a driver in TRS last year, plus the season in Europe following that, I improved a lot as a driver, and I think up until the last lap that proved it.
Is the pace down to confidence and just miles?
I think that's a large part of it. I've only been racing 4 years now, so every mile I get definitely adds to my experience.
Turn to the man alongside you, Marcus Armstrong, coming into this weekend, joint leading in the championship. Steady as you go. Your approach this year, is it different really than last year?
Yeah, last year was, even by my own words, a little bit boring. I mean, we took the points every single race, and it was quite, it was a long 5 weeks when you just do that. So far, so good. I mean, we've been having some fun, me and Liam. So I'm sure everyone's been watching the racing and enjoying it, and so have I.
You obviously knew of Liam Lawson, but were you surprised how quickly he was on the pace, given that he was just starting out, and you started out a couple of years, same sort of age, but were you surprised at his pace straight up?
Not at all. I mean, F4 in Europe is very, very competitive, and he was doing very well over there, so it doesn't surprise me at all. Then again, I have been doing F3, so maybe I should be a step ahead, but to be fair, coming back to New Zealand, it sort of levels everything out, even for guys with less experience, mainly just because the car it's not quite as developed as an F3 car, let's say, so it sort of levels the playing field a wee bit. So everyone is quite close. But then again, he's been doing a fantastic job. Also, Lucas has been doing a good job. Everyone on the team has been quite close, and I think that's the reason M2 is so well developed, is just because all the drivers are constantly pushing each other.
Finally, Marcus, tell us a little bit about being in the Ferrari Academy, and also last year in F3 with Prima, with our current champion, Robert Schwartzman, and also with Mick Schumacher, who's now going to be a Ferrari Academy driver with yourself. So, interesting times.
Yeah, I've been keeping up to date with all the WhatsApp group messages and stuff, so it sounds pretty interesting over there. They're actually in the middle of a training camp, let's say, and they've given me quite a bit of crap for missing it, so no, it's been good to wake up in the morning and read all the banter and stuff, so, and also they'll be watching these races, and I'm sure they'll be having a good time, especially after that last one.
I'll cross to the other side, to Perth, Australia, to Callum Williams. Tell me what last season was like for you in F3.
Yeah, it was brilliant. First full series overseas, or first form of racing overseas whatsoever, actually. And yeah, it was a huge step for me. Going from racing around the circuits in Australia against Australian competition to racing against some of the best circuits in the world, against some incredibly intense international competition, which included Cameron here and Dev over the other side. Yeah, it was a brilliant series, running with a brilliant team, Fortec Motorsports. I certainly learned an incredible amount, just because you have to. If you don't learn a lot coming from Australia going international, you'll get left behind at the end of the year. And so I really feel like I learned a huge amount racing in Europe, and I think that shows in this series. yeah, so I mean, I'm happy with what I learned. I'm happy I raced in Europe last year, and I'm looking forward to racing again.
What about racing in TRS? Obviously, we had a champion from Australia a couple of years ago, Thomas Randall. But what did you heard about the series before you got here?
Well, it was sort of, it was an idea on our minds for last year, but it didn't happen last year. So we did know about it. We have known about it for a couple of years. We've known it's an incredibly competitive series. We know it's brilliant for sharpening up your racecraft because you have so many races in a short period of time against such intense competition. And then this year, we sort of said, you know, with the way the super license system is structured, we're really looking for super license points. And this series, offering super license points and offering so many races in a short period of time, will be brilliant going forward, both in terms of the points and the experience they'll gain.
Finally, Callan, I don't know how aware you are of the history of this event and the trophy you're racing for this weekend, but Sir Jack Brabham won it 3 times, and more recently, Thomas Randall won it. Are you aware of sort of the history of New Zealand motorsport?
Not a huge amount, I'm afraid to say. But I'm sure being in New Zealand, racing in a New Zealand motorsport series, I'll certainly pick some of that up because you can't avoid it. So
good to have you here. Deb, finally, good to have you on board. Your first time in the series. What are your first impressions of both New Zealand and the TRS?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Obviously, this year's got quite a stacked field and the competition's really high. So just really coming in here looking to improve and learn and just really get ready for the upcoming season. I don't think really anybody knows where they're going yet. Maybe a few people, but we at the moment just wanted to plan on keeping our head down and focusing on improving throughout the TRS 5-week span and coming into the season strong.
Although it was a dramatic race with a lot of stop-starts, you were having a better day than perhaps you had at Taronga and Highlands, so you're moving up.
Yeah, Taronga I think would have been better. We had quite strong pace there at Taronga in the wet. Unfortunately, we made a call, a bit of a gamble in qualifying, which didn't work out the best for us as a team. But in the race, obviously, I think me as well as my teammates showed that we had quite good pace. I got a bit unfortunate at the start of that race and lost a lot of ground, but recovered quite well. Here, we had a good race going. Unfortunately, I was a bit unlucky on some of the restarts and lost some positions, but yeah, on to the next one, I guess.
Finally, as you know, there's a lot of choice for winter testing or winter racing. Why TRS?
For that reason, exactly, racing I think is always going to be more valuable than testing. It's easy to go out on a test and by the end of the day you're up to pace and you're quick, and that's always easy, but it's about the progression and progressing with everyone else. And this championship being as competitive as it is, and obviously there's a lot of people here that I could find myself racing against in the coming year. It's good to sort of see where you stack up amongst the other competition.
Okay, great. Good to talk to you guys. We've got some more press here. Jump in, guys. Murray.
Just following on from the point that you made then, it seems that quite a few drivers are still not settled in where they're going. I'm intrigued to know, do you look at the cars, the calibre of the championship, or do you wait and see which drivers are doing which championship? So which is the key factor for you?
Yeah, so it's all of the above. I'd say probably the car itself is the least of my concern. I think anyone that wants to consider themselves a professional racing driver needs to be able to jump into anything and drive it quick. So in my opinion, I think probably the most important key factor for me at the moment is where the highest level of competition is going to be in a realm that's doable. So obviously, if FIA is going to have the highest level of competition, but then there's not going to be a competitive seat open, then you look to another championship where you're going to be able to race in the next highest level, but with a team that can compete to win.
Marcus, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, firstly, this is home, so I mean, I'm driving back home tonight after this press conference, so it's easy to be here. Plus, I enjoy it. The people here are really cool, and it's almost like Europe coming to New Zealand, so that's cool. Yeah, also the car is it's not too far away from what we will be racing in Europe, and the competition is high as well. So I was actually looking forward to Tipton coming down. We didn't actually decide to do it in the end.
That's an intriguing point. Give us your thoughts on that. I mean, he had choices, you all had choices. What was your thinking about that?
To be honest, my decision was already made. So if it was up to me, I'd invite Lewis Hamilton to come and race as well. Just might as well race against the best. I mean, that's the only way we're going to progress at any high rate. So yeah, but it's good fun here, and the weather's nice, and I get to stay away from the cold for a few more weeks. So.
Cameron, your thoughts on that as well, please?
Yeah.
Is it the drivers that you want to race against, or is it the championship and the history of the championship?
I mean, I think as Dev said, it's a combination of a lot of things. For me, definitely the caliber of drivers is a huge factor, because that's how you measure yourself going into the next season, and that's also how you improve, because they're going to push you. Then also, having a car that's reliable, I think, is the most important thing, which this car certainly is. But I'd say that the speed of the car is not really a factor, because, as Dev mentioned, you should be able to drive any car quickly if you're a good driver.
And finally, Callum, your thoughts on that question?
Yeah, I think when deciding a series to choose, one of the big things we looked at initially last year was not only finding a competitive series with a car that would replicate what I'd be hoping to drive in the future as I progress, was also finding a team that runs in the series with a very good junior driver development program, or a team that focuses a lot on improving young drivers more so than just being a business and making profit. And so that was a big factor that led to our decision last year to run with Fortec Motorsports. They put a lot of focus on developing their young drivers, and yeah, I mean I wouldn't have improved as much as I did last year, almost certainly if I was with a different team. But yeah, also the competitiveness of a series in terms of who's racing is always very important, but sometimes drivers don't sign up for teams until you've already made a decision. So a lot of the time it's planning for the future. So you might run in one series because you want to be prepared for a series in the year later. So it's a lot of preparing for the future, thinking forward, and saying, this is my goal, how am I going to get there, and work back from there.
Thank you.
Question for Callum. Sort of shunt obviously down at the carousel. First off, you were right out of the car, and then second, you able to explain what happened?
Well, I can't really say much more than obviously there was contact between two cars, and I ended up in the wall. I'm not going to attribute any fault to myself or the other driver, or no fault at the moment. Obviously, after having an incident, the first thing on your mind isn't really remembering what's happening. So I'll go over the onboard footage when I get it. But yeah, until then, I can't really say anything or make my mind up. So.
Any more questions? Last question for each of you, starting with Callum. Looking ahead, we've got two races tomorrow. How do you feel going into those two races?
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to the races tomorrow. We've shown some pretty good pace in the practice sessions. So first and foremost, I'll be looking to qualify well, and then holding position through the race and looking to challenge where possible.
Cameron?
Yeah.
I should say we've got three races to go. So
Yes.
look ahead to the weekend.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of the weekend, because I think the pace has certainly been promising during the practice sessions we had and the last race. So yeah, it's just about keeping the nose clean, regaining some points, and try and make this the pivotal point of the season and make sure that we're on an uphill climb after this weekend.
Marcus?
Yeah, it's been a good Friday and Thursday in terms of testing and performance-wise. So, as always, I'm going to be very, let's say, aggressive with my approach and try and do as good as possible. So, as they said, qualifying is the next thing. The car feels really good on new tyres, and especially in the morning when the track is cold. So, I'm looking forward to quali. Race 1, who knows? Hopefully, less red flags than today, and yeah, we'll try and win.
Deb?
Yeah, I guess plan is just keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum up. We've been on a very strong uphill progression since Highlands. We had a pretty slow start to the championship. So yeah, I think I'd just like to focus on myself. Really, I'm not too concerned with what the others are doing or where they're at, and just keep working on my own. And just to be honest, I think as long as I'm focused on that and worrying about myself, the results will come.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. For those of you tuning in on the internet, we apologise we don't have a result for you yet. There's a lot to sort out. There was a lot of incidents. So we haven't burrowed too deep into that because we just don't have a result for you. But look for the internet, look to the Toyota Racing Championship website, and stay tuned for our live feed tomorrow, where we will have qualifying, as the boys say, and a race, and then we've got 2 more races to come after that. So 3 more races to come from Hampton Downs. But that concludes our press conference for the 3rd round of the Castrol Toyota Racing Series.